Imagine you and the love of your life pack everything into a van. You leave the noise of everyday life behind, hit the open road, and decide to share every magical moment with the world. Sunsets in Wyoming. Coffee in Utah. Smiles and laughter. All of it, documented for thousands of followers watching online. That was the dream of Gabby Petito. But that dream turned into something none of us could have imagined. Because one day, the posts stopped, the smiles disappeared, and the man who was supposed to love her came home alone. What happened to Gabby Petito out there in the wild, open spaces of America? What did Brian Laundrie know, and when did he know it? And why did it take the entire world demanding answers before anyone truly started looking? Stay with me, because this story is far more complicated, far more heartbreaking, and far more chilling than the headlines ever told you. Welcome back to Dark Files, the channel where we dig past the surface, past the noise, and into the true, documented facts behind the world's most disturbing and haunting cases. If you're new here, welcome. This is a place where we respect the truth, honor the victims, and never sensationalize tragedy. Before we go any further, if this channel gives you what you're really looking for, real answers, real facts, real stories, hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on your notifications so you never miss a case. Because trust me, you do not want to miss what comes next. Now, let me ask you something right at the start. If your loved one disappeared and the person last seen with them came home and said nothing, what would you do? Hold that thought. Because Gabby Petito's family had to answer that question in real time, on national television. To understand this case, you first have to understand who Gabby Petito was. Not as a headline, but as a person. Gabrielle Venera Petito was born on March 19, 1999, in Bethpage, New York. She was 22 years old when she died. By all accounts, she was warm, adventurous, creative, and deeply in love with life. She had grown up between New York and Florida, and like so many young people of her generation, she turned her wanderlust into content. She was building a travel vlog on YouTube and Instagram, documenting a life she was genuinely excited to live. Her fiancé was Brian Christopher Laundrie. They had been together since around 2019 and got engaged in July 2020. By the summer of 2021, they were living together at Brian's parents' home in Northport, Florida. On July 2, 2021, Gabby and Brian set off on what they called a van life road trip across the western United States. They were traveling in a white 2012 Ford Transit van, planning to visit national parks and iconic American landscapes. Gabby was posting content regularly, smiling selfies, scenic vlog clips, captions full of excitement. To the outside world, it looked like the perfect adventure. But here rests what we know now that the world didn't know then. Behind those perfectly curated posts, something was very, very wrong. Can you imagine watching someone's happy content online, not knowing you're watching their final weeks? August 12, 2021, the couple was in Moab, Utah, near Arches National Park. At approximately 4 p.m. local time, the Moab City Police Department received a 911 call from a witness who said they had seen a man hitting a woman near their van. The witness also reported seeing the couple arguing and the man slapping Gabby. Officers responded and pulled the van over. What the body camera footage, later released to the public, showed was deeply troubling. Gabby was visibly distressed. She was crying, hyperventilating, and appeared emotionally distraught. She told officers she suffered from OCD and anxiety, and that she and Brian had been fighting. Brian, by contrast, appeared calm and composed. Officers wrote in their report that the incident appeared to be a mental health crisis, and crucially, they concluded it was a case of mutual combat. Brian had a scratch on his face. The officers decided not to arrest anyone. Instead, they separated the two for the night. Brian was asked to stay at a motel. Gabby stayed in the van. Now, I want you to think critically here. Two people are reported to be in a physical altercation. One is visibly in distress, crying, struggling to breathe. And the decision is, let them both go. Does that decision sit right with you? That Moab police interaction would later be scrutinized heavily. Critics, including domestic violence experts, argued that the signs of an abusive relationship were there. The body cam footage, when released publicly in September 2021, became one of the most watched pieces of evidence in the entire case. Gabby Petito had 31 days left to live when those officers drove away. After the Moab incident, the couple continued their trip. Posts on social media continued, though some followers later noted that Gabby's energy seemed different, quieter, less like herself. The last verified communication Gabby's family received from her was a text message on August 25, 2021, sent to her mother. It read, "No service in Yosemite." Her mother, Nicole Schmidt, would later testify that the phrasing of that message seemed unusual, not quite how Gabby normally wrote. Law enforcement would later investigate whether that message was actually sent by Gabby or by someone else using her phone. After that message, silence. No posts, no calls, no contact. On September 1st, 2021, Brian Laundrie returned to his parents' home in Northport, Florida, alone. He arrived in the white van. Gabby was not with him. He did not call Gabby's parents. He did not contact police. He did not make any public statement. He simply came home. Put yourself in the shoes of Gabby's parents. Your daughter's fiancé comes back from a trip, alone, driving her van. And he says nothing to you. What does your gut tell you? For 10 days after Brian returned home, Gabby's family tried desperately to reach her. Her mother called, texted, heard nothing. On September 11, 2021, Gabby Petito's family filed a missing person report. On September 14th, police held a press conference confirming her disappearance and naming Brian Laundrie as a person of interest. 2 days, Brian Laundrie, at this point, had hired an attorney, Stephen Bertolino, and was not later. On September 16, 2021, Brian Laundrie himself disappeared. Think about the timing here. His fiancée is reported missing. The entire country is looking for answers. And then he vanishes too. What does that tell you? The FBI issued a federal arrest warrant for Brian Laundrie, not initially for Gabby's death, but for unauthorized use of a Capital One debit card belonging to Gabby, with charges amounting to over $1,000 in transactions made after. August 30, 2021, the discovery that shook the nation on September 18, 2021. FBI and law enforcement agents converged on the Bridger-Teton National Forest in Teton County, Wyoming, an area near the Spread Creek dispersed camping area. The following day, September 19, 2021, a team of volunteer searchers discovered human remains in a remote, wooded section of the forest. On September 21, 2021, the Teton County coroner confirmed the remains were those of Gabby Petito. She was 22 years old. The cause of death was determined to be manual strangulation. The manner of death was ruled a homicide. Gabby Petito had been strangled by human hands. Out there in the wilderness she loved so much. And now the question the world was screaming: who did this to her? Brian Laundrie. The end of the search while law enforcement in Wyoming processed the devastating discovery. The manhunt for Brian Laundrie intensified across Florida. The Carlton Reserve was searched repeatedly. Dogs, drones, helicopters, nothing. Then, on October 20th, 2021, more than a month after Gabby was found, authorities searched a previously flooded area of the Carlton Reserve that had since dried out. In that area, investigators discovered human remains, a backpack, and a notebook, all belonging to Brian Laundrie. On November 23, 2021, FBI Special Agent Michael McPherson confirmed that the medical examiner had positively identified the skeletal remains as those of Brian Christopher Laundrie. The cause of death, a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Brian Laundrie had taken his own life. There would be no trial, no cross-examination, no testimony under oath. For Gabby's family, and for millions of people following this case, that was its own kind of tragedy, because it meant answers would never fully come. Does justice exist without a trial? Without a verdict? I'll let you decide. The notebook, Brian's final words. The notebook found with Brian Laundrie's remains became one of the most significant pieces of evidence in understanding what happened, even though it raised as many questions as it answered. In February 2023, following a civil lawsuit filed by Gabby Petito's parents, the FBI released previously redacted portions of Brian Laundrie's notebook. In the notebook, Brian Laundrie wrote that he had killed Gabby, but claimed it was an act of mercy. Gabby's parents and their legal team rejected this characterization entirely. The forensic evidence, manual strangulation, did not align with the narrative Brian put forward. And here is something I want you to think about. A notebook written by the only suspect with no ability to cross-examine the author. No. Corroborating witnesses and physical evidence that contradicts the narrative. How much weight should that notebook carry? The Laundrie family and the ongoing legal battle. One of the most painful and controversial aspects of this case was the behavior of Brian Laundrie's parents, Christopher and Roberta Laundrie. On November 3, 2022, Gabby Petito's parents, Joseph Petito and Nicole Schmitz, filed a civil lawsuit against the Laundrie family. The suit alleged that Chris and Roberta Laundrie were aware that Brian had killed Gabby before the missing persons report was even filed, and that they helped him evade law enforcement. In July 2024, that lawsuit was settled out of court. The terms of the settlement were not publicly disclosed. To this day, the Petito family has been vocal advocates for missing persons awareness, particularly around a phenomenon critics call missing white woman syndrome. The Gabby Petito case received an extraordinary level of media coverage that many journalists, activists, and families of missing persons of color pointed out as deeply disproportionate. While Gabby's story dominated headlines, hundreds of other missing persons cases, many involving Indigenous, Black, and Latino victims, received little to no national coverage at the same time. That raises a question we should all be asking ourselves. Who gets to be a national story, and who gets forgotten? Is the system of media coverage broken? And what can WE do to change it? Gabby's legacy. Gabby Petito was not just a case number. She was a daughter, a friend, a dreamer who wanted to document the beauty of the world for people to share in. In her memory, the Petito family established the Gabby Petito Foundation, a non-profit organization focused on helping families of missing persons. The foundation has worked to raise awareness, provide resources, and advocate for equal media coverage for all missing persons, regardless of background. Gabby's case also led to increased scrutiny of how law enforcement responds to domestic violence calls and renewed national conversations about coercive control in relationships. She deserved better. She deserved to finish her road trip. She deserved to grow old. Outro. That is the documented, factual story of the Gabby Petito case, one of the most followed, most debated, and most heartbreaking true crime stories of the modern era. But I want to leave you with one final question, and I genuinely want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe the full truth about what happened out there in Wyoming has ever really come out? Or do you think there are still unanswered questions that deserve more investigation? Drop your thoughts below. This community is built on honest conversation, and every single perspective matters. If this episode gave you something to think about, if you believe cases like Gabby deserve to be told with honesty and care, then please subscribe to Dark Files. Hit the like button. Share this with someone who needs to hear this story. Because the truth doesn't disappear just because the cameras turn off. And as long as this channel exists, we will keep looking. I'll see you in the next Dark File.